All right, hello, PlayStation Turkey. I'm Cory Barlog'a, director of God of War, and I'm going to answer your questions today. So let's get right into it. Question number one. You are back to the front page of the gaming industry again. Well, thank you. That's a very good place to be. What are your feelings about this returning home with a new God of War game? That's a great question. It is actually, I'm going to just paraphrase what you just said. It is like returning home. It's like coming home and feeling that sense of comfort and familiarity, right? It is an amazing challenge to do this again, but also we have some pretty amazing fans. So I'm very fortunate and blessed to be part of this. Number two, what was the most difficult stage in designing and developing the development process of God of War? And then can I share a special memory or moment? I would say for me the most difficult part was convincing everybody that this was a good idea. It definitely did not end with just convincing one person. It was a constant. I was convincing people constantly of the various ideas. And I would say the very special moment was when we actually were able to find that perfect sort of moment of God of War. So we worked on something called the First Playable, and that was a slice of the game to try to convince everybody this is what we're talking about, because prior to that it was just a bunch of words. And you saw a little bit of it in E3 2016 and at the beginning of the game. So that part of the game we had made like 10 times in various incarnations. And the first time we played through it and showed it to Scott Rohde and Shuhei Yoshida, and the sort of enthusiasm, Shu actually stood up and clapped. So it was fantastic because it felt like we had finally realized something that was just a bunch of, concepts and ideas in our brains. Number three, our community is very curious about Atreus. What is the position of Atreus in the God of War universe? His position is slightly to the left, up 45 degrees. No, his position in the universe is, we're getting an origin story of Kratos' son, right? But it is a very complicated thing to be the son of the God of War. And he is, to me, always has been the humanity of Kratos, something that has been stamped out for so many years through Kratos' very difficult life. So Atreus is kind of doing as much work as Kratos is doing when it comes to how much he's affecting Kratos. So Kratos is trying to teach Atreus how to not be the god that he was, but Atreus really, unbeknownst to him, is really teaching Kratos what it is to be a human being again, which is the thing that we relate to the most. There's a lot of the window into this franchise and into this story is seen through Atreus' eyes. Okay, continuing. Number four, can you give us some details for Kratos' new weapon of choice, the Leviathan Axe? Absolutely. Well, actually, I don't want to give you too many details because you find out a lot of really cool stuff. But the two Huldra brothers, the dwarves that you have met earlier in some of the footage, Brock and Sindri, created this axe in sort of a response to their creation of the Hammer of Thor. So they created Mjolnir, and they kind of viewed the creation of Mjolnir as, in some ways, sort of the creation of nuclear weapons, right? It fundamentally changed the balance of power in all of the mythological landscape. So they kind of regretted it, and they felt really bad, and their creation of the Leviathan was an attempt to kind of balance the scales. So this weapon has a pretty deep lineage within the mythological landscape. Number five, we always love to read some books. That's very good. Reading is fantastic, and we should all love to read some books. Can you recommend us 3 books that we must read? Okay, so The Road by Cormac McCarthy, Neil Gaiman's Norse Mythology, that is a fantastic one, and Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. That is a book that affected me greatly when I was in school. Loved it. Okay, so number 6. As we saw from the trailers, in God of War there are amazing scenes, well thank you, and we are lucky that the game will have a photo mode to capture these scenes with Kratos and Atreus. Do you think that in-game photography is evolving? Absolutely. Just the idea of having a photo mode in all games is evolving dramatically to engage the audience to be creative inside of a game. Like, we build systems inside the game, from the combat to the interactions of the world, that inspire the sort of creative expression of individual players. But photo mode is now present in so many games and allowing communities to share moments in a way beyond just making a screenshot, but really kind of showing their own creativity. It's phenomenal, right? Because we work in a creative business that has fans and players who are also creative. So I love seeing all the stuff that they create. All right, well, I think that's it. Thank you so much for such wonderful questions. And I look forward to everyone out there playing the game. Thank you, PlayStation Turkey.
Oyuncular için.